All right, great to officially welcome everybody out on the grass here for training camp. Always one of my favorite times of the year, getting the guys going right off the bat today. Got some really good work planned, and we know we're really in great anticipation of welcoming our fans out on Saturday. Turnout's always really great here at our facility. Great setting, and you guys know my thoughts on training camp. One of my favorite parts, really the whole season is when we get this year's version of our team, starting to build each and every day, but having the energy of the fans coming out to TCO is something I know our players really value a ton. With the news announced yesterday, very, very excited about getting Christian Darrisaw signed under a contract extension. One of the best young tackles, in our league, and all he's done is continually get better and better, and the expectation is he's going to continue to do that. Pairing him with B.O. over there on the other side, we feel really good about that tackle combination, and really those guys, have been the heart and soul to go along with some of the guys on our interior for a while now, and they're continuing to build and build. But having those two positions solidified for the future here feels really, really good for our team. We did sign Duke Shelley. Great to have Duke back in our cornerback DB room. A guy that had a huge impact on our locker room when he was here in 2022, and just seeing the excitement of the guys when Duke was back on the grass in the locker room with them as well. I know everybody was excited to get Duke back, and really join that competition there. As we look at the depth of that cornerback room, is going to be a big part of training camp for Flo and the defensive side. I know we had talked a little bit about TJ and starting out on PUP, as well as our plan to have Andrew Van Ginkel start his work. He will be limited a little bit, but for the most part, our plan is to get him rolling through this ramp up and really use it. So by the time we're in pads, Andrew's right in line with his normal workload. Dwayne McBride starting on the NFI list. He has cleared that list and will be a full participant today and moving forward. And then Najee Thompson was a name I didn't get to mention to you guys on Monday, but he dealing with a left knee kind of thing that he's been working through the rehab throughout the summer. He will start on PUP, but we hope to get him out on the field with his teammates, and I'll keep you guys posted as the rest of those kind of injury issues that we're working through right now. All the guys attacking the rehab really well, but we want to be smart and make sure they can be at their best as they work in the mix with the rest of the group.
Kevin, when expectations are high in a team, coaches tend to tap it down, tell people not to listen to it. When expectations are lower, do you do the same thing, or do you use it as motivation?
Yeah, right now we're in the portion early on in training camp where we've got so much work to do on ourselves and our own team. We're really not concerned at this point in time with what's being said, projections. Year over year, you can look at those things and see a totally different outcome at the end of the season. What we need to focus on is the Minnesota Vikings and how we collectively have progress every day to becoming what we feel very strongly about that we can become. But in regards to any of that, we've got to focus on having a great first day of the ramp-up period today. We're under a 90-minute restriction, so we got to be able to fly around this field and get as much of the work in. Now that we're really transitioning, as you guys know, from what we do in the spring in that learning and teaching phase, this is a whole different phase now where, we're going to work through these first two practices in helmets, but we're going to be moving full speed work in every facet of our practice, moving into shells on Friday and Saturday before we get to put the pads on Monday. So things are going to move quickly. Installs are going to move quickly. It feels good to be in this phase. This is, like I said, my favorite time of year as we go building our team.
Jim, with Darrisaw deal, what created a climate where he was able to get that done 2 years left on his rookie deal?
Yeah, I think, CD knew we wanted him here. There wasn't, because of the time left on his deal, there's not maybe the great urgency that you feel in other situations, but the desire for CD to maintain himself as a huge part of the Minnesota Vikings, and of course our want to get that done. I want to credit, Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, and Rob Brzezinski, Kwesi, for really coming together and putting together something CD can be really proud of, and rightly so, deserves it. One of the, like I said, premier young players at his position in the NFL, and I'm so excited to see him continue to assume leadership role within our organization, and just the progression, the upside of a player like Christian Darrisaw has been on full display just with his impact on the game. But there's so much room for him to grow in multiple facets of the game, and he's more than excited about that than really anybody. So hoping for a huge camp out of CD, but it was the best news we could have heard as a team, and I know the guys really enjoyed getting that announcement last night at the team meeting, and the love for CD is very, very high.
What is your vision from a physicality standpoint during this camp, maybe compared to last year or the year before?
Yeah, I want to make sure we prepare our team for the physicality that is to come in each and every one of your 17 opportunities. And play style is going to be something I talk a lot about, and that's encompassed in a lot of things based upon what position you play. But as far as your effort, strain, finish, those are great things to go along with that initial feel of what it looks like when you cut on the tape. From a physicality standpoint, what do our offensive line combinations look like? What's our get off look like on the defensive side, on the edges? How are we defeating blocks? And my hope is by challenging both sides and a lot of competition level periods with the schemes that Flo has and our offense have to try to really truly make, I know sometimes it can be a overused term, but you really want that iron sharpens iron mentality. And with that, we're going to have a physical camp. It's set up in a way staying in alignment with what we believe from a sports performance side for sure, but between the joint practices against a really physical football team in Cleveland and how we're going to try to practice against ourselves, we're definitely looking to really just get some work done each and every opportunity we have as we build our team.
Kevin, how would you say the offensive line played last year, and what might lead you to believe that they'll be better, particularly the running game? What leads you to believe that they'll be better given basically the same faces out there?
Yeah, on paper you can absolutely say that, but you really go back and look at how many times that group as a whole was out there consistently from the first snap of a football game till the next, or the ensuing weeks after that. We played a lot of combinations of guys, and I think we feel very strongly not only about, I mentioned CD and BO, but I think Garrett reported back, looks very strong and really putting an emphasis on being able to find that perfect weight for him to still be the elite athlete he is, but also play from a power and physicality standpoint. And then I think year 3 for Ed Ingram, with the year that he had last year where we saw some really good flashes from Ed. It's about consistency now in his 3rd year, having a great camp, having a camp that really matches with what we saw from him in a different kind of setting in the spring. And then Blake, we really wanted to allow Blake to have the opportunity to settle into a role and grow and develop within his communication with CD and Garrett playing next to him. But it was important to get a guy like Dalton Reisner back in the building, really compliment our guys upstairs for getting that done, because now we feel, with Blake and Dalton and Ed at the guard spot, we drafted a center and a tackle that we feel really good about to go along with bringing in Dan Feeney and some of the other young players we did. The depth of that room feels really good. It was great to get David Quessenberry back. So all in all, it's now about what's on paper that we feel good about coming to life via the schemes we're going to attempt to run, the techniques and fundamentals. And then, like I said, it will not be the last time you hear me talk about play style, either at this podium or as our guys know, in front of our team.
Changing the schemes at all?
The way I look at it is, some things could be considered changes, some things could be updates, refinements, making sure we're capitalizing on some of the best things we've shown we've been able to do, but also identifying, down to, certain angles, certain techniques, certain blocking techniques, what we do well, but what do we need to improve on, and then, we get the gift, if you want to call it that, of just the multiplicity of Flo's defense that forces us to understand it's much more than just lines on a chalkboard, X's and O's. It's got to be identification, communication, and then making sure we don't have any snaps where we don't know where we're targeted, where we're going from a standpoint of scheme understanding. And that's one of the things that we hope elevates a lot of things to go along with some of those refinements and new things we're going to do based upon the continuity of that group. So a lot of moving parts with that. That's why we got to make sure these padded practices are physical. We got to make sure the competition makes both sides of the ball better each and every day.
Beyond his performance on the field, in what ways have you seen Christian grow his first couple of seasons?
Say that one more time.
Beyond his performance on the field, in what ways have you seen Christian grow his first couple of seasons?
Oh, that's a great question. I think what I've seen from him, whether it's his interactions with a Dallas Turner in the spring of talking through pass rush with him, or every once in a while you'll see him take some of the young tackles with BO and they'll be talking through, technique and fundamentals, what works for them, but maybe what might be a tool for their toolbox as they grow and develop. So you're seeing a little bit more of that mentorship role. He's a little more vocal in the O-line room. He's a little bit more vocal across our offensive unit, and that goes for a lot of guys around our team, as really I'm looking at that, those guys that are going to assume some of these leadership roles that are very, very important on our team to go along with some of the guys that have been really foundational pieces in that standpoint really since I arrived.
Third receiver spot with KJ gone. You got Brandon back, you bring in Trent, you got a guy like Jalen Naylor around as well. Like, how do you size up kind of the different skill sets?
Yeah, I think it's going to be competitive for sure. As many good things as Brandon Powell did for us last year, maybe without a lot of the time on task repetition in training camp, BP's able to take the experience that he had in LA in a similar offense and come in and apply not only the scheme, but the physicality and the want to, in the run game to try to play his role when we're in 11 personnel. I think you're going to see some of those young players from the practice squad. We really liked that group a year ago, and now we're going to see kind of who can take that next step when called upon. Trent Sherfield's a guy that's always had, a real mentality for being a multi-phase player from the pass game standpoint, but also, what it's like when that guy puts the pads on, the real guy kind of comes out. And that goes for a lot of areas of our team where you don't want to overanalyze. I know we always want answers on depth charts and things, but the way we, and really all 32 teams now handle the spring, we have to put the pads on. We have to see ultimately what the game is like in its truest form when we put those pads on and allow physical players that maybe that's their best skill set, allow those guys to do those things encompassed in their game. So a lot of names in that room, a lot of guys really looking forward to seeing in addition to those guys. I mean, Jalen Naylor's a guy, maybe the third receiver can look a lot of different ways in our offense because we have moved Justin and now Jordan quite around in our offense. So you really have to be versatile. It's not just saying that guy's a slot receiver or an outside receiver. It's really looking for a versatile kind of all-down skill set that might come from a collection of guys. It might come from one guy taking that job and running with it. So definitely going to be very competitive.
How much do you
All about
the camp to needing to get more production out of the running game?
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. You have to, as much as we want to, be the healthiest possible team that we can be, part of preparing yourself to withstand the physicality of the season and executing at the level you want is practicing that way. And we have had physical camps before, but I think it's just got to be a daily emphasis and a player-owned thing to go along with us as coaches being in alignment scheme-wise with how we coach offense and defensive football. And it's going to be some days where the offense has a great day and some days the defense has a great day. But collectively, what I want to see is ownership of the schemes and the techniques and fundamentals, and then that play style term that I think kind of encompasses everything. When we know what to do and how to do it, your style of which you do that and the physicality that you bring is what this game's all about.
Did you guys look at all at doing a second set of joint practices, like with the Raiders before that first preseason game here at all?
Yeah, we definitely always are looking at those opportunities. Sometimes it works out with opponents. Sometimes you can get things worked out ahead of time. But this was really the best option for us this year. We'll make sure we maximize, that Raider week of preparation, which still in my mind is training camp, but then that preseason game as well, knowing that there could be some real valuable repetitions for some guys and also having our team ready for the very important, as you guys know, my feelings on the joint practices. I'm a big fan of them, and we've learned a lot over the last 2 years about our team during those 2 or 3 days each year we've gotten a chance to do them.
Last two.
One set of those, does that change anything for you just in terms of evaluation? I know that tends to be a big week when you do see them against another team. When you only have those 2 days, do you adjust anything as opposed to having 2 sets of them?
Yeah, I think going back to 2022, we learned a lot in that one set of joint practices when we welcomed the 49ers here. That was, I believe, the second week as well. So kind of looking back how we handled the first game that year. What do we need to change about that this year? This is a totally different new team, so we'll have conversations as a coaching staff and with the personnel department about what does our evaluation process look like at each individual position, the 53-man roster, and how we make sure that we're doing our part to evaluate it and give these guys every last opportunity while being smart about what's best for the team as well.
Darnold's at a unique juncture in his career.
Yeah.
1-year deal, but an opportunity here. In your conversations with him, what have you tried to talk to him about managing this moment in his career?
Yeah, I think that's what you guys have heard me talk about before with the quarterback journey. When you've experienced what Sam's experienced and the positives, the highs, some of the lows that he's felt like have been real learning opportunities, and Sam doesn't need to be reminded about some of those experiences for him to apply them to how he operates every single day within our building in the quarterback room, and clearly as he gets going here in training camp. And I think he's always had the skill set. He's always, in my mind, when you really turn on the tape, he's shown that skill set matches with playing the quarterback position at the NFL level consistently. That's going to be the name of the game. How comfortable can he get within our offense? What kind of similarities to some other systems where he's had some success can he find in our system, while also the leadership piece of that quarterback walking in the huddle and making sure that everybody's on the same page and dialed in, ready to go execute, are all things Sam's thinking about, while also understanding he's had some great experience, in some good situations, some adverse situations, ultimately that's led him to this moment, being a quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Is there pressure when you have 1 year to audition for another, either you guys or the rest of the league?
I think, pressure is I think Sam just wants to take advantage of what he feels is a pretty great opportunity with the teammates that he has in that huddle and being around Josh and Grant and the rest of the Qs in that meeting room. I think he views it, I don't want to speak for him, but I think he views this as a really positive chance for him to just, looking at where he's been on his journey, kind of looking at this opportunity as a really great one to just attack every day and worry about what he can control and become the best version of himself.
Thanks, everyone.
That quarterback journey, the mentality has to be right there as well, right? In order
Say that one more time.
When it comes to that quarterback journey, the mentality has to be there as well, right? To handle the situation, block out like JJ's the quarterback of the future, and to focus on that.
Yeah, I think part of that is understanding that his journey has really created, in a lot of ways, the opportunity for him to have that right mindset naturally based upon his experiences. And I think that's one of the things I love about Sam is he is so laser focused on just what do we install on that day, what's my technique, what's my footwork, what's my read, and then how do I take that to the grass, because he's been in some systems and he's been in some different roles throughout his journey, and he's looking to maximize this one this year and really not concerned about much else. Thank you guys.